welcome to another video chat episode of Soul Work. My goodness, I'm having fun with these, so thanks for being here as well. And I want to share a bit today on time management. Dum dum dum. But before that, really having fun is a lesson that I've learned kind of on again, off again, times in my work life when I've been having a lot of fun, times when I've been not having as much fun. And I've really noticed that when I'm having more fun, I'm having fun, obviously, so that's a benefit, but also things tend to go a lot smoother. Those goals and dreams and excitements along the way tend to happen a lot easier. And when I'm not having fun, well, it's more of a struggle. So just, seeping that one in there for you a little bit. Have a little bit more fun and a little less not fun. And I know that can sound kind of casual or dismissive or any of that, but really, I believe it's one of those fundamental nature core secrets of really getting things done, or growth or joy. All of these things, play essentially is essential. My goodness. But today, time management. So let's get right to it. I wanted to share a bit of my own journey with time management and really struggles I've had along the way and things I've kind of figured out to make my life easier and make my work life more fun and more enjoyable as well. So I think something to kind of talk about that I don't really see talked about so much is how much and how fast social media has changed. And with regard to time management, if you are putting out something into the world now, whether you are, one person doing something or part of a whole group, probably a lot of your time is spent on social media. And, maybe because I'm in the geriatric generation of social media, I guess. I saw that term thrown around with geriatric millennial. So, kind of reminded me of my early days of, the early 2000s. There was MySpace, there was email, you could contact somebody through their website. But really most of my kind of building things up for myself or building that excitement for myself was what I kind of call in my own mind pounding the pavement. So literally I'd pack a backpack at the beginning of the day, whether I was in New York or any other city, and leave my apartment, my hotel, whatever it was. And I knew that anything that could happen, any connections that I could make, any fun projects that might come to mind would be a product of meeting some person, a product of having a meeting, or maybe spontaneously simply talking to somebody about something that leads to something else. And I've had plenty of those. And of course, we don't get that with the pandemic and everything so much in the last year or so. But we don't get that also because of social media. So even in the last just 2 years, it's changed so much, right? With stories and kind of this constant, Truman Show everybody has with themselves. If you choose to have that, it can be very time consuming. So I just wanted to open up a little bit of that conversation, looking at how much time you spend doing certain things, and is that creating more fun and more awesomeness in your life, or is it creating more stress and frustration and probably mental health issues as well? So it's all kind of connected. So I feel really lucky, being geriatric on that side of things, because I can use social media, I can enjoy it, but I do see the constant trap of it. So happy to share my own kind of story within too much communications, too much digital time, too much in-person time, and kind of bad time management, and lessons I've learned from there and how to create things in a better way. So when things started really getting, I guess, busy for me, and that happens really. It's just a matter of, whether it's time plus your energy doing something, or just energy or just time. That's kind of bound to happen for most people doing things. You'll have your own kind of version of things are happening, I'm doing projects, I'm doing collaborations, and it's so much easier now because of social media to reach out and contact somebody, ask them if they want to do a collaboration together. Again, when I started doing this stuff, that was much more formal than it is now, which is, an interesting difference in just the last 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, even 6 months of how things kind of move really quickly there. So I'm thinking about my own kind of busyness with Strala Studio in New York City, really starting to get, I guess, a lot of buzz or whatever. When you're right in the middle of it, you don't really think about it. But a lot of people were coming all the time. And of course, it was very fun and exciting. The books that I was writing were starting to get translated in a lot of languages. So I had the pleasure of getting to show up in different countries and give lectures or yoga classes or come to different events. And I would take advantage of that invitation and maybe that plane ticket that somebody would buy for me to get to Germany or France or wherever. This is a long time ago. I'm like, oh, let me just stay for a little bit longer, stretch out that time and do a Strala class, do a workshop, do an extra event with somebody else. So kind of adding on these things started to become really interesting and cool, and something that was beneficial for me in time management. So I feel really lucky. Part of my dream as a little girl and as when I started doing all of this was to have friends all around the world. And as soon as all of the around the world started opening up to me, I was right there. I was a yes woman on that part. I said, take the backpack, let's go to all these places, let's make friends, let's enjoy and share my passion, help people feel better, or just share my passion of how you can feel better by moving with ease, by living with ease, by doing everything with ease. You know me, I'm just all the time like this. So literally the person who was the flight attendant I'd be talking with about yoga, or the person that was, in the airport, in the train station, as well as all the people coming to my book events and yoga things and all of this. So when you have that fun and you have that pull, it's unstoppable in a way. You're having a good time sharing, and I love that. So I remember just knitting hats so often, and one memory that just popped in is a flight attendant came up to me and she said, this was kind of at the beginning of Instagram, I think, but YouTube was more, a lot where people who didn't know me from New York occasionally would come and say hi to me on the street and that kind of a thing. And a woman came up and said, oh, I've been doing your yoga videos. And she kind of said it to me in secret. I said, oh, that's so cool. I said, well, I'm knitting a hat right now to give away to somebody. Would you like it? She said, oh my gosh, that'd be so amazing. I'll give it to my son, and he loves knitted hats. So making friends all around the world, that kind of a thing. So I've just always been so grateful for every connection that it's helped me feel more energized with my time. And I think that has a lot to do with time management as well. If you feel exhausted by how you spend your time, maybe something to look at there of what you're doing. Is what you're doing as exciting as it can be for you? Do you feel that inner pull? And if it's not there, it's totally fine. It just means there's a pull behind door number 2 or behind door number 3. There's some pull for all of us, some unique individual pull. And once we find it, zoom, we're off. We're off in whichever direction that pulls us. So when things started to get busy, I got really excited because I'm an excited person about all of this stuff. So I would go to Asia, and then I would leave Asia and be on WhatsApp with everybody there. In the middle of the night, if I was in Europe, I'd be talking to Asia or somebody in Los Angeles or whatever. So I was getting addicted to that busyness, to that kind of constant connection, that constant need to be involved in the process of what I was creating as well. So I saw that happening. It didn't quite lead to a burnout. I wouldn't say it's so dramatic, but it led to me thinking, this is this is a kind of fast-paced, kind of fun. There was no problem really from the outside that somebody was saying, hey, you might need to slow down, but I could feel something happening on the inside. So what I started to do was to stay longer in each city instead of go to Asia and fly the next day to go to Europe and fly the next day to go back to New York, and kind of bounce around like a ping pong ball. And so when I started to kind of look at well, what am I doing and is it sustainable for myself and for the people around me? Things started to grow a bit deeper and a bit more outward in all directions and feel more solid in a kind of beautiful way. So kind of like a tree. I think in the first many years of my work life, I was kind of up everywhere this way. And then it started to go down, 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 and out, 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 which is pretty cool just to kind of reflect and think about that as well. So I noticed I was spending all of my time busying myself with jumping in to the water of everything that I was doing. And I would jump in with anybody that I could jump in with. You know, I would look to a digital connection if I wasn't in person with somebody. If it was in the middle of the night and I woke up, I said, oh, I can email my friends in Tokyo that have the Strala studio there and see how they're doing and just check in and be supportive and all of these things. And it's not that any of that was negative. It was just coming from a place of disconnected desire to need to be involved at that moment. So started to look at that and also want to change my life, wanting to have Daisy. You know, she's a very wanted child, thankfully. So trying to slow down so my body could figure out that, you know, a home inside of it would be a nice place. So that started a whole other process of just calming down, growing the roots down and out. And what really started to happen was time management really shifted. So kind of fast forward to now, I don't need to go over in this video unless you guys are super interested, and kind of keep going with, you know, the play by play of every year of my life so far and what I've learned. But something that has been completely different of my way I spend my time now than it was, you know, even 6 or 7 years ago was, wow, I'm so much simpler in that. So lately, you know, in the last, really since Daisy's been born, I keep a pretty simple schedule, you know, time with her, time doing yoga with people, time resting, time learning, time with her, time doing yoga with people, time resting, time learning. And I do all of the things because I enjoy it. And I know that's a luxury, that's a privilege, but I think there's really some wisdom there. If you're creating something, or if you have a full-time job and you're trying to figure out your time management outside of that job that you need to pay your bills, there's some cool conversation that I just really want to be a part of here. I really want to jump in on how we can manage our time to fulfill us more. So I'm not trying to, you know, testify about, you know, manic manifesting of just do it this way and you'll have a big company and this is going to happen and you'll reach your wildest dreams and, you know, shiny, 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 all of that. You know, who knows what's going to happen. I think a lot of luck goes into each of our lives, and things kind of show up when we're ready a lot of the times. But, you know, back to the really practical, what I learned from my kind of bad time management to what I'm thinking now is better in my life or more sustainable is it's boring. It's boring, 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 you know, and I'm okay with that, which is wonderful. And I get a lot done, which is even more wonderful. And I feel healthy. I'm strong. I feel energetic. I feel more energetic now than I did 10 years ago, which is wild to me. But I kind of feel like it has to do a lot with this time management. So really scheduling in my practice time, my yoga time with people, my yoga time on my own, my reading time. That's a priority for me, to read materials that aren't my own thinking, aren't my own works of art in a way. My writing time for my own thinking, my own works of art in a way. My Daisy time, my Mike time, my family time here in Illinois, going and hanging out, going to cool stuff, all of that. My bonus fun time, and then rest time, not just sleeping at night, but also rest during the day. So, you know, I kind of hesitate to share these, what I do in a day, what I eat in a day, that kind of thing. But maybe if it's helpful for you to look at how you spend your time in a day and kind of schedule it out for yourself, just to see how you feel about it all, having a feeling-based approach. So for me, I knew the moment the pandemic started in New York, or the moment we had the stay-at-home order, that I was really lucky to be healthy and happy and to be able to stay at home. So I started wanting to do yoga with people every day. I thought that was something that would fuel me in this way. So we started Instagram lives every day with everybody, which was fun. I didn't care if it was just me or 1,000 people or 5,000 people or 10. It really just honestly didn't matter to me. It's more for me and for anybody that wanted to be there. So that was fun and turned into a lot of interesting relationships, and a lot of interesting projects came out of that for me as well. But we also started to develop our Strala app, which has become something that we didn't have the time to do before because I was too busy being busy. So really we thought about having an app for the last 5 years, to be honest, and just haven't had the time or space to make that happen. So we took the time to develop that out. And now I spend the mornings pretty much every day doing yoga live with people. And after that, doing my other creative projects, whether that's this book that I'm writing about these topics, which is really fun, or scheduling things, answering emails with book publicists and things like that, kind of the ins and outs of things that I do, kind of the computery stuff, right? And then it's done in a little box and it's done. And that doesn't mean that I love it or hate it or anywhere in between. It's just finished for the moment. And then Mike and Daisy are downstairs having breakfast, so I get to open the door and say, what are we doing today? And we have all of this space and time to do something, unless something else is scheduled. And that's kind of what it is. So in the afternoon, we have kind of trade-off time between Mike and Daisy and me and how we all spend our time. It's the afternoon right now. Mike and Daisy are downstairs playing. She still takes a nap occasionally. So I have some time to do things like this again, or to go back to working on my writing again, or reading or resting. So I have this kind of afternoon siesta time as well. Even if she's not napping, they usually go scootering or go to a park or something like that. So we're really lucky there. And then we have dinner together and we're all in bed pretty early, which is nice. So boring, I told you, but that's been really helpful for me and really useful for me to schedule out how I spend my time. I feel for a lot of people who are kind of addicted to bad time management habits, because it's a habit like anything else, and it's simply just probably not talked about as much as, a smoking habit, a drinking habit, a stress habit, a poor eating habit, things like that. It's something that's kind of socially acceptable. You're standing in line at the grocery store and you could be just scrolling away or whatever. So hopefully this is useful to just think about how you spend your time, when you do certain things, and how that makes you feel in a way. So anyway, I'd love to hear how you guys are doing, if any of this resonates with you guys. Boring topic, time management. But let me know. By the way, this is a dress that I think I bought in high school at the mall with my mom at a little store in the Midwest called 579. It was kind of a cool store that I convinced my mom to go to when they were having a sale. So bonus of being at home, I got to go to my parents' basement and they said, please take all your stuff. And I said, oh, this is pretty cool. So anyway, ended up with this one. So big hug, lots of love. Let me know how it's going with you, spending your time, creating your time, making space with your time and all of that. So have a great day and see you soon.